Can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Okay, quick recap, quick refresher. I was just joining a call here with Nolan. We were having a brief discussion. He was asking me how the adoption thing is going, and I was talking about how governments are just so bad at making laws. They are just a joke. And something like adoption, something like children, taking care of the foster children, the abandoned children, should be so well regulated, so well managed. They should be choosing the best people for the job, and it's just a complete joke. But anyway, I used as an example, because I watched this video recently of India and Bangladesh, huge city. It's just incredible what governments allow. They allow people to pollute, and not just pollute. Like, that sounds like pouring a little bit of a bad thing in a river. No, I mean absolutely destroy their rivers going through their cities, their
Can't
main
even see the
rivers.
water.
Yeah, the main water sources. I mean, they are allowed all around the countries of India and Africa to just fill them with trash. That is the dump for them. There is this complete lack of intelligence, just complete insanity, self-destructive stupidity that leads them to do this. I mean, if there is any fresh water source, any river, any lake even, people will go and poop and pee in it and fill it with trash. And people in America and other countries constantly go over to these other countries, and they're trying to help them. They're trying to teach them, hey, you do need water to survive. Let's not pollute your water sources. They're trying to teach them basic things like this, which incredibly their ancestors have not been recently passing down to them. And we were just saying, what they need are rulers who will strictly enforce the rule of law and give a punishment, a severe punishment to anyone doing this to their water source. Like, if anybody's seen throwing trash or pooping in this river or any place, anywhere in public, which happens constantly in India and Africa, that person should be arrested. They should be given a punishment. And this is an important topic. We were just talking about this because we as Christians, we don't join government. We ourselves do not ever, enforce. We don't inflict any death penalty. We are not stoning people like God commanded the Israelites in the Old Testament. We're not made civil judges like that anymore. We're supposed to be separate. But we Christians still support the enforcement of the rule of law. We support it. We support death penalty for evildoers. And it used to be there would be a death penalty, guys, if you destroy someone's livelihood. Like, if you steal their horse, that was just very recent, like 200 years ago, 150 years ago. You steal somebody's horse, there'd
Yeah,
be a death penalty because that's his livelihood. And nobody sees
you'd
a
be hanged.
car. Yeah,
Yeah,
hanged, publicly hanged, public executions to deter this. And it would deter it. Crime rate was significantly lowered by doing that. And that's something that God supports. Remember that Paul says that the government bears the sword for this very purpose, to instill terror in people. And the governments today just don't instill any terror because they've been so emasculated, and they do not put the fear of God in people. Remember, that's the purpose of the government, to put the fear of God in you. And even parents, to a degree, are supposed to put fear in their children. And if you're not doing that, then you're giving a wrong impression of who God is. So this is governments failing to image God, to imitate Him as they ought to in this way. You're supposed to get a feeling of, looking at the angels when you see the police coming for you. You got to be thinking, oh, God's ministers coming to punish me. They're coming to pick me up and take me to the prison, Hades, hell. You should be thinking of that. I mean, look at this. In India, they make landfills just on the side of the road all over the country. This is a long video, 33 minutes long. I was just watching it, and I was just being completely astonished at what people are allowed to do there because the rule of law is not enforced. So again, this is an important topic because we as Christians do support the punishment of evil. And we were thinking about making a kind of counterbalance video, a video showing the truly balanced Christian perspective on the issue of Christians not joining politics or taking government office. Because while we don't do those things, we support the punishment of evildoers. Even though we, as a special class, a race set apart for God's service, are not allowed to be in politics or fight in war, just like the priests were not allowed to be men who stained their hands with human blood. we still, nevertheless, see that it's necessary for these things to be done. Even though we're forbidden, it is necessary for evildoers to be punished. And you will even see the fathers like Justin Martyr and Tertullian fully endorsing the full brunt of the law falling squarely on any evildoers who deserve it. And Justin goes so far as to say, if even a Christian should be found to be some evil person, that he should receive the full punishment of the Roman judicial system. And we didn't really show that in the video where we were telling Christians not to join the government and showing the Father's testimony on that. But I think it would be good to show that, just to show we're not against justice. I mean, you did get into that. Some people think we're saying, oh,
Very briefly
murderers,
at the end.
yeah, murderers don't deserve to die. Of course they deserve to die. Of course serial killers and
Yeah.
rapists and pedophiles deserve to die. Of course we do. You got to remember,
Yeah.
the fathers say even about wars, Tertullian and Origen and Justin Martyr, they say they pray for the success of the Roman armies, which are fighting the enemies who are attacking. They say they pray for success. We do. We pray for peace. We pray for all barbarous attacking armies to be defeated and for peace to be restored in our nation. We pray for that, even though we do not participate in it ourselves. We're forbidden to. We're following a law. They always say, oh, so you just like to stand on the sidelines? You like to enjoy the fruits of our labors? And they hold that against us like we're just so evil for not participating. But, you know, we're actually forbidden to participate. It's pretty hypocritical for any person to say that who is not in the military or a police officer themselves, because guess what? They're doing the same thing. They're enjoying the protection of the police and of the U.S. military or whatever military, and they're not in it themselves. So, I mean, how different are they really from us? Yes, we do appreciate them. Yes, we do enjoy the protection of our nation's military. Correct. We do. We're not required to join the military. How ridiculous to accuse us of being some traitorous, treasonous, lazy people just because we don't join the military or the police force. It's not even all citizens do that. The rest of the citizens don't do it. They really I've heard people paint us that way. Anyway, yeah, this is India. I'm thankful I don't live in India, but you know what? The U.S. is kind of like this right now. The U.S., I haven't even been sharing screens, but I was recording it in case anybody wants to watch. Yeah, the U.S. is like this. They don't have rulers. They don't have kings who really care about their own country, who, men who will enforce the necessary laws and punishments. They just say, oh, I'm going to be in office for a couple years, and then I'm going to leave. I'm going to get my salary. Something has definitely changed, because India's been around for thousands of years, and it wasn't like this. This is more of a recent thing. What fell apart, what failed in this country to cause something like this?
Yeah.
But it is going well, Nolan. We are moving forward with the adoption, and I think we'll have the baby with us in 5 weeks.
It's very exciting. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Excellent. But yeah, we were just talking about the rulers. I think really people just want the ideal. You can't get any better than this. And it doesn't even. You could have like practically almost like no written laws, so long as you just had. I mean, it's like how a lot of children. I mean, there are some examples. Some people are going to say I had it on the fridge, but a lot of parents don't have written rules normally for children. At least throughout most of human history, it was just like dad's in charge and he responds accordingly to the situation. And it will never be any better than that. A living voice that can react accordingly and lead people in the proper direction and dish out punishments in the moment. If you had a great classic ruler that saw like a bunch of people doing this, he maybe wouldn't drown them, but he would send a garrison of soldiers over to at least like dunk the citizens' heads into the water for a while, like while the trash was still in it, and maybe not drown them completely, but like put the fear of God in them, hold them down long enough that they can't breathe, and then pull them out and say, do you like being in there? And then like make them all clean it up or they get their hands cut off. I mean,
There'd be
that's what
something
people want.
severe.
That's what people need.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, yeah. There'd be something really severe. This is outrageous.
Yeah. Yeah. But bureaucracy is not good either. It's like anarchy's not good, and then endless laws aren't good either. There are so many laws now in the United States, for example, where it's just like I really don't think it's a law issue, Luke, because we have so many laws, and in fact, so many lawmakers joke about how they can just crack open a book on anyone that they don't like, really, and find a way to interpret some random law and punish them for it, and put them in jail or something like that, or fine them. They've done this to so many people, several people, and everybody knows this about the United States. The problem, I don't think, isn't the law, the lack of laws. Is just a lack of true leadership, people that are actually in charge, and not just making decisions, but actually carrying them out with force. I mean, Paul says the government doesn't carry the short sword in vain. But I mean, nowadays, it practically almost globally does carry it in vain because it doesn't really hardly kill anybody.
Exactly. That's what I was
Um,
getting at.
uh, yeah, it's like we have the government, but we don't even get the trade off of like the the real order that you want.
Yep, it'll be a completely different generation, these next 2 generations coming.
Well, wouldn't you say that we'll just be regressing back to the times before the law of Moses? Because I'm aware that Eusebius says that God instituted certain laws to keep these people in check, and he even gave them rulers to keep them in check. But if the rulers aren't doing anything and the people are becoming more lawless, well, seems like we're returning to that time, even worse.
Well, I think
It's a
they're
very unique time. It's a brand new time. There's no time like it in history. You just have like I said, I mean, it's just endless bureaucracy. There's no one ruler. It's just a hive mind of a government where there's no real responsibility. Everybody can pass it off to somebody else. Nobody's truly in charge. Nobody's truly responsible. Even the president, the office that the United States has created at its inception, um, was really only just supposed to be a figurehead, not truly supposed to be a real leader. Over time, the president has acquired more and more power, but even then, he's not truly like all powerful as a true leader ought to be. He's very weighed down, a president, and if anything doesn't go right, he can always, blame it on Congress or something like that. And then Congress can blame, if they don't do their job, they can blame it on the president. And the buck doesn't really stop with like one person anymore. And I think that for as bad as a king can be colossally bad, horribly bad for a country. But then a great king can also just be extremely wonderful for a country, like a democracy can achieve. And if any Christian wanted to challenge me on that and say that I was wrong, why then does Christ not create a republic or a democracy? Why is Christ not being elected every so many years? Christ is going to be a dictator. I mean, Christ is literally going to be like dictator in the truest word of like he dictates to you what's going to happen, and that's the way it's going to happen. And if that system is bad, if it's wrong to have King Christ, the King of Kings, then you're basically saying that Christ is dealing with an imperfect system.
no, it's the correct system. You know, Paul even says, obey the emperor. He uses that word. We don't have emperors. We haven't had that in a long time in many countries. Haven't had a king, you know, a true king. Everybody's adopted this crowd rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to gross you out with all that nonsense. Yeah. Look, Nolan, is this how you want
It's a
Abraham to look?
disservice, by the way, ultimately to humanity. It's not as compassionate as people actually think it is in reality, or like in the long run, to go and allow these people to continue destroying their own water supply, and then, reassuring them that, you'll go over there and fix it for them, just enabling them to keep doing it because they know somebody else will come along and fix it for them. That's not truly compassionate. That's not truly constructive or good. The other one, the thing that I said earlier about, terrifying them. I mean, that sounds so harsh and mean, but then it separates, the people who are going to fall in line from the people who are never going to fall in line, and you might as well just off them.
Right. But specifically with the garbage thing, the government, they need to give those people a means to actually dispose of their garbage, because in many of these countries they don't really have a proper waste management system. So some people are just forced to do those things
I just
or
fundamentally
burn it.
disagree with you, Raheem, because even if it is a civilized set of people would band together and they would figure it out on their own. They would create their own legit landfill to take care of that.
Human beings have
They
been
would
doing that
never
for
at
a
any
long time.
point, even if they were like, oh, we have no help from the government, no rational person at any point would pollute their own water like that.
Right.
They just make a landfill. They make a big pile or they dig a big hole. I mean, people have been doing that since, you can read it in biblical times, the Valley of Hinnom.
Yep.
They never went to their rivers and filled them
They
with
weren't throwing it
trash.
in the Jordan.
I mean, you guys can go to countries, you can go to a place like Venice in Italy, and they have rivers all over the place. They have river cities. People are not throwing piles of trash into the water. They love living in their beautiful country surrounded by rivers.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, there's something wrong. Something wrong with the people and with the government. It's twofold.
Yeah. Well, the government is made up of the people. So I think in some of these places, you're just going to get the results that you're going to get, uh, especially in South Africa. It's sad with India, though, because India, I mean, used to be a nice place. Look at Alexandria sometime, too, by the way. Such a shame. I mean, Alexandria is a cesspool today. It looks like crap. It looks terrible. And I just feel so bad when I look
Mhm.
at it at the street view, because I'm like, this used to be a
The
nice
whole
place. This used to be the premier. This used to be the learning center. This used to be a very civilized place in the world. And now it's just awful. It's really a shame.
Yes. Hey,
I have to
Xavier.
look that up.
Good to see you, Xavier, and Stephen and Dante. So good to see you. How are you, Dante? Everything going well? You guys can talk about anything you want. Nothing scheduled for today. We were just here to edify and be edified. The Ganges River in India. I'll have to look that up. The Ganges. Decomposing bodies in the Ganges River? I mean, they have these buildings, these absolutely astonishing buildings, but just filthiness. No, that's crazy. Wow. Nolan, what's been happening with you lately?
Nothing really. I was spending a little bit of time today while I had some free time at work, um, trying to get a better idea on the letter correspondence between Apgar of Edessa and Christ, and I'm still working on that.
That's
Did you find
nice.
anything you could share?
Nothing that I want to present just yet. No. Um, it's such a bizarre little thing though, and it pops up all at once too. I mean, fourth century, and wham, there it is. And I mean, there are just so many questions that arise with it. There's some other things that are going on too, perhaps. Like with Bardessides, actually, as a matter of fact. Apparently, he has some role in the picture. And I'm just trying to get like a handle on it myself and understand it.
Huh? Or Disney? Yeah, you might. Yeah, when you figure it out, you should definitely show me what you find.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of scholars. I mean, there's a lot of information on it. I could share, Raheem. You might find this interesting. I was collecting a lot of Catholics and Orthodox rejecting the book and talking trash, or well, the book, I should say, the letters, I mean, the writing, but from church history, the book by Eusebius, rejecting it as spurious and false. I've got a lot of like Catholics and Orthodox just rejecting it anyway. And then also in the Galatian decree, which is appealed to by many people, it's listed as one of the rejected books, the apocryphal. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
So at least some people, I suppose, didn't really accept it. But at the same time, though, a lot of people did accept it. It became very popular.
Like who? Who
Well,
who
it just
accepted it?
it just pops up a lot. Like after the time of Eusebius, and nobody like Eusebius didn't invent it. He did get it from something. Clearly, he says that he got it from the actual archives themselves. And I really just don't know what to think of it. I don't think Eusebius made something up, but at the same time, I think it was recently created, and I think it was created for the express purpose of making the idea of a king, someone in, who wears the purple,
Hmm.
being a Christian, and
Right.
idea that can be found in antiquity and not something that would be novel. Because if anybody were to attack you, then you could just pivot back and say, well, what about King Abgar? What about King Abgar? If somebody says, what are we doing with Constantine here? They could just say, well, what about King Abgar? And you do find that a lot. Like anytime that people are trying to, um, I think we talked about this before, Raheem, but anytime that people want to get a whole bunch of people on a bandwagon with something that's new, something that actually is new objectively, they know that a lot of people want to go with what's most ancient. So there will be at least some people within that group of trying to push this new idea who will take advantage of that and create a forged work and present it as something ancient. We see this, for example, with the donation from Constantine, which was created during the whole feud between the Catholics and the Orthodox. And I don't know about you, Luke, but I view the King Abgar thing exactly like I view the donation from Constantine.
Yeah, I've come to accept that.
You know, and it's strange too because, as you said, someone could pose the argument. What about King Abgor? Because they'll say, not only did Christ send an apostle to him, well, not only apostle came to him, Christ sent the apostle to him. So it's and it's strange. Why would the Catholics reject that? You think they would accept it?
Oh, they don't accept it?
Yeah, but but I thought they would because obviously they believe Christian emperors can be
If
Christians.
you talk to an individual who is against us, they will believe it. So that's what we're going to encounter. We are going to encounter individual, like laity type people that we'll talk to that will suddenly believe it out of convenience. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like I do not want to be like throwing Eusebius under the bus or anything like that. It's not to take away from any of his, the things that he accomplished with church history, which is a lot of great information in it. And it's not to say that Eusebius is like 100% wrong about everything, historically speaking. But it's just like this clearly was like a tool for propaganda. And it's just bizarre. I mean, I wish I what I'm really wanting is something that really crushes its head, like something very definitive. Because I mean, it's just bizarre how none of the. I mean, you can argue that Odessa being where it is, some people on the map within the first couple centuries maybe they hadn't heard about it further and further away. Um, like maybe if you wanted to say that, like Irenaeus had never heard, let's like indulge it and say like the whole thing with King Abgar happened. Like maybe you could say that Irenaeus over in like France didn't know about it, but I mean, further over to the east though, really nobody, especially like Origin, for example. It's just weird, and it would have served a lot of people. I mean, where was Justin Martyr was born? Where was he born again? He died in Italy, but he didn't live, like, he didn't grow up there. He grew up in
Samaria?
what's that?
Yeah.
Justin Martyr? Samaria.
Samaria. Yeah. So I mean, like, he's a lot closer over there. Like, Justin Martyr would have, in their apologies, the church fathers' apologies that they make, you'll notice that they're always trying to give legitimacy to the Christian religion. And one of the ways that they do that is by, like, appealing to any uh, ruler or emperor that was at the very least sympathetic or kind or tolerant toward Christianity. You'll notice that they do this with Marcus Aurelius all the time. They'll appeal to Marcus Aurelius. They'll, if you remember, Tertullian does that with wasn't it Tiberius, Luke, or who was it?
Justin Martyr, isn't he writing
He
to?
says, well, Justin Martyr, but I'm talking about Tertullian here. They like to talk. They like to appeal to the emperors, any of the emperors who are at least a little bit tolerant or sympathetic towards Christianity. They'll
Yes.
do that throughout the apologies. And didn't Tertullian say that, like, Tiberius went to the Senate to try and have Christ recognized as a, like, legit deity? Wasn't it Tiberius, or was it a different emperor? Do you remember?
Hmm. I don't remember,
I mean,
but it was
I
one
think
of
it
those
was
early ones.
Tiberius because
I think it was Tiberius. But anyway, that's my point though. Like, they're looking for anything that they can do. And I mean, Abgar was like a legit, he was a king. He was an actual king. And that would have gone a long way if you had in your back pocket. I mean, this is just also just rhetorically speaking, that it would have been good to have in your back pocket that you had a king who had corresponded with Jesus, was healed by one of his disciples, and converted to Christianity, and who was friendly with the rest of Rome. That would have been a very, like, convenient persuasion tool whenever you're making these apologies. But then also, on top of it, aside from any kind of rhetorical tool that could come in handy, it also just would have basically carnally come in handy. I mean, if you had been a Christian, you knew that it was punishable by death, especially if you have Nero going crazy or anything like that. I mean, you would, if you heard news, oh, hey, there's a King Edessa over here, the King of Edessa, he's over here, and he's really cool. He's not only tolerant towards Christian, he is a Christian. I'm packing up my bags, and you would see, maybe not everybody would be wealthy enough, maybe not everybody would be able to go, but you would see a influx of Christians migrating over to that area. That would have been something that would have happened. That would have been like a big event if there was, like, a safe haven. And like what else? What else would you be able to say? Like, Apgar didn't allow it. He said, "You people can't come in here. You Christians, I won't protect you."
Hmm.
I mean, if the story were true, that like, he would be like a hero. I mean, that's how that would play out. It'd be like a safe place to go to. So it doesn't make any sense. It's never appealed to by anybody when it would be so valuable.
and it would be so contradictory too. Well, the things that are found in it when it comes to the king being a Christian and not repenting, at least to our knowledge. By the way, it was Tiberius.
So I thought.
I know you said more people mentioned this story after the time of Eusebius. Anyone of note?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
I know you said more people mentioned this story after Eusebius. Who mentioned it? If you can name any.
Um, a few people, I can't remember the names right now, but a few people do either mention it in like a reference kind of form where they don't quote it completely, but they refer to the event. And then also there are a lot of manuscripts that have been discovered throughout where Christianity had spread at that time. Like they pop up all at once in the fourth century, and they have like a longer form than the one that Eusebius. So you have what Eusebius is quoting, which he says he got from the archives, and then there's also a like a longer form manuscript or whatever that they have called Teaching of Adai, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it contains that story in it. It's like from the same time.
Teaching of Adai.
That's the one that has the whole story of them worshiping the cross, falling down, bowing to it, and kissing it after they found the cross. That's something I've never talked about with you, Nolan. I don't think you've read much about it. You can correct me if you have. But Cyril of Jerusalem, starting with him and a bunch of others, they claim there was this big miraculous event around the time of Constantine's reign where there's this huge sign in the sky, almost like a big arrow or something, pointing down to where Jesus' cross was secretly hidden. And Cyril of Jerusalem and many others, well, they went to it and they found it and they saved it, and they all bowed down to it and worshipped it and kissed it and kept it on display. And they would invite people to come into their church building in a line, in a little procession, and come and kiss it over and over again. And many post-Nicene fathers mention this. Pretty much all of them, actually.
I remember Ambrose talking about it that Helene had found the cross, and
Constantine's mommy, she found it.
he
God
says
showed it
something.
to her.
He says something silly. He says like she was worshiping the king that was on it and not the wood itself. Surely he says something like that.
I just find it so funny, the suggestion that Jesus would have fond memories of the torture instrument that was used on him, and that he would feel honored if everybody, like, imagine that if one of us were like, scraped, like all the flesh was scraped off of us, or like maybe we should find the sword that chopped Paul's head off and I'll just kiss it and bow to it. It seems a little
Yeah,
odd. Now, the only difference would be, well, this is the symbol of Christ's victory over death. But still, it is still his victory over death. He did die on it. He was tortured to death on it. The instrument is not something that brought him joy. It's that he beat it. He defeated this horrible torture instrument by coming back to life. And so we all remember Christ's sacrifice, but to worship the torture instruments is quite a bit different. And there are no church fathers who say we should bow down to a cross. The idea of bowing down to a cross seems to have started with them finding this actual cross. But I am not aware of any father saying you should just find any old cross, like draw a cross on the wall or something and bow to that. That has to have been, that's something much later.
and it's their obsession with Emperor's mom too. It's not like yeah, and then the bishops got together and they said that this is how we should treat it. It's like we're a like
She said it.
we're cultivated around the emperor and we're like the emperor's fanboys and this is what she did and isn't she great and we just love her and this is how she acted towards it. Luke's writing out the. He's rewriting the script right now.
This
I
is
think.
this is just random notes I'm making on my massive document. This isn't even going in the video. There's way too much stuff. We'll do all this later. We've got this. By the way, you need to send me an Asterius image, please.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if you included that in your list when you sent it to me of what you needed.
I'll check.
You might have. I don't remember.
Let me check it right now. Let's see here. Wait. Where'd all my images go?
Why do you not use folders? Why don't you categorize these?
I do. We're gonna find them.
Let me check and see. Did I do? Maybe I didn't do him. Let me see. I don't know if I did one for that.
Nope, no Asterius.
Yep, you're right. Okay, let me do that real fast. So,
Yes.
what shall we talk about?
I will talk with all of you. I just need to throw my babies in their bed. Will you stay here,
I
Nolan?
mean, there are a lot of subjects we haven't talked about. Let's see here. I know we wanted to have that Nephilim call once. Never had it. What about cryptids?
No, that'll be something separate. Yeah.
Or we could just do over a fundamental call.
We could talk about a lot of things. Just hang in there. Nolan, don't leave me, okay? I'll be back. I just have to throw them in their beds. You guys stay here, okay? You know what we should do is we should join the newcomer discussion channel, and I'll bet some newcomers will jump in. I'll bet.
Unlikely.
You would enjoy it.
That usually happens.
It does. Every time I've ever jumped in there, other people jump in. Some Orthodox, some Catholics.
Seriously?
Yes. Let me put the babies to bed, all right? Anticipate it, all right? I'll be right back. I'll be fast. Give me 9 minutes.
By
All
the
right.
way, in that location where Edessa was, I'm sure there were kingdoms that bordered the kingdom of Edessa. I wonder if they have any records of it.
If
Surely they would
Edessa
have
has
said
any records?
the neighboring kingdoms.
I don't know. I don't see. They maybe, but it's like 2,000 years ago. I mean, like, I'm reasonable. I get that things take a while to travel around, and not all documentation is still going to exist to the present day. I my main issue with Eusebius saying that it's from the archives, like I really just don't know what to believe about it. With Eusebius, I just think like I don't know if he got confused by something, like, or if he got tricked or what. I think Eusebius thought it was real. I don't think Eusebius was lying intentionally. But it's just weird.
Yeah.
But I think we'll get some good stuff. I anticipate I'm going to get some good stuff on it.
I anticipate it as well. What about that Papias book? I know you sent me some stuff on it. I thought, well, thought there would have been more.
But what?
I thought we would have gotten more fragments, but it's all right.
Well, there are more. There's the testimony, which testimony is just going to be. I need to transcribe some of it. I'm only going to go up to like a certain date. Like I'm not going to go past like 1000 AD, which is what the author has. Like he goes all the way up. I especially like what's the point? Because everybody by that point is really just like repeating what other people say before them. Like they're kind of in the same boat as us. So, but yeah, no, I'll do some of the testimony where that will be various church fathers describing and talking about who Papias was and his books and describing them. Testimony is just about describing them, giving validity to it. The fragment section is actually the fragments themselves. And then there's the spurious fragments also, which like could potentially be from Papias's book, but we don't know for sure.
Interesting. I want to see those spurious fragments, though.
The spurious ones? Yeah. And they're not it's not just like flat out like some of the spurious ones are like clearly like mistaken. It's not something Papias said or there was a different Papias. Because there were multiple people that were named that. So we're concerned with the Bishop of Hierapolis specifically when we're talking about Papias. There were some others with that name shortly thereafter. And so some later writers, like centuries and centuries later, seem to have gotten them confused, or maybe they didn't get them confused. Like they knew who they were talking about when they said Papias, but then people in like the last 100, 200 years who are trying to put it together don't know if it's the Papias that we're thinking of or a different Christian named Papias. So like some of them are like, yeah, we're pretty confident that this is not something Papias said, but we're including it here because it was considered for a long time. That's in the spurious, but then there are also ones that are like, yeah, this is pretty likely what Papias actually said. We just can't confirm it because we don't have the book to really verify it. Like a lot of the times when Irenaeus is talking about the elders, he's saying, we know the elders say, and you can be pretty confident that I don't even know what you just sent me, Raheem. I don't think we're going to talk about that. I don't even know what you're referring to, what you just privately messaged me. I haven't heard anything about that.
I'll send you
But
a
I don't,
video.
okay. I don't want to talk about it right now, though. What's something else that we could talk about? I'm trying to think. Let me save this real quick. Save this picture. Uh, there we go.
Oh yes, Nolan. I wanted to ask, is there any traditions of people in the early church? Because I know obviously Christians have always had children and Christians have always died. And I wonder, because I know, especially for boys, they do need a father figure in their life. And especially that father figure is like a Christian. So I wonder, say Nolan, if you died, if the Christians would have a tradition where, okay, someone of the brothers, they would step up and help raise your child. I know they would have that for orphans, but
Yeah, for orphans. Yeah, exactly. It would be family members should take care of if there's a widow, if there's an orphan. Family members would be obligated first and foremost, but if family members couldn't or there were none available, then it would fall upon the church, unless they would be adopted by somebody within the church.
right. But do you think? Well, I think it would be good though if even if the mother was still alive, a brother steps up and maybe takes that child under his wing every now and then to give him that manly figure, manly Christian figure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, contrary to popular belief nowadays, you do not have to sleep with the mother, the widow. You don't have to sleep with the widow in order to be something of like a father figure to a son who has lost his father. That you don't have to do that. I don't know if Origin, because Origin was relatively young when his dad died. But he's like a little bit older. I think he stepped in from like the way that the we know about his life and his biography. It sounds more like he was old enough. He was still young, but he was old enough. Back then, if you were like 15, you're the equivalent of like I don't know 20, 25 in today's world. not just arbitrarily though, but they actually matched the mental, emotional maturity. Because Origen immediately stepped up and took care of his family and took care of all the finances and everything. We're told if he had younger siblings, then he would have served as a, like something of a father figure to them. If he had any.
If he had any siblings?
Yeah.
You know he had siblings.
Yeah, but we don't know anything about them. We don't know like where he placed.
Who's the oldest?
Oh, he was the oldest, yeah.
Yeah. I never even thought about that, but he would have had practice teaching.
It's true.
You want to jump in the discussion and see if some Catholics join? See if we
Sure.
can
By
help
the way,
some poor
we've
boys.
talked about how like, in the early church there would be a like they wouldn't just like let young people like today, like youth pastors, young although the pastors themselves aren't youthful always, but sometimes they are, and like they'll get these very young people, these baby faced people. They would tend to get older people to teach, but then with Origen, we know he started teaching. He was getting teaching jobs at a younger age than normal. But that's probably why, Luke. I mean, if he stepped up and like became like the head of his family essentially, and like took care of everything. So that was probably a big factor, I suppose.
Interesting.
Could be like on if you think about it, like, oh yeah, you're a pretty exceptional guy, with everything that's happened. Yeah, we'll let you teach. I think that makes sense for you. You're also just very talented. You're smart. You're good at it, and you're mature. You're responsible. Anyway, we can hop over if you want to.
Yeah, let's see. Come on.
Yeah, he was teaching the catechumens at 18, which is interesting.
We left Ashton in the other one. It's all right. We very much look forward to meeting the Catholics in spiritual warfare. We do have a lot of church fathers talking about veiling, whose quotes we've not put on the website because they require some explanation. They're not like super explicit. You kind of need somebody to connect it for you and go, oh, wow, I guess he really is saying that when you put it that way. But it's not easy for a newcomer to just read it and say, oh, wow, that's obviously what he's saying. There's probably enough on the website as it is. Nah,
Yeah.
Brian, I don't think they should be. I mean, some of them, let me give you some examples. We showed you before, like the Ephraim ones, I'm sorry, they are just not explicit enough. They're not. They're not.
I don't know if that's what he meant.
Oh, at them.
I meant people. I meant like people, like inquirers.
Okay, here we go. We're going to say inquirers. We need a cathodox.
Yeah, just do an at here.
We'll just say we want to name them. Everybody likes to be named.
Does that here work for people a newcomer?
Yeah. It'll just be the
Okay.
people that are online already, as opposed to pinging everybody.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, cool.
It's too late. gonna be eating dinner here soon, Luke.
It's going to be okay. I'll handle it.
You know,
What?
What is it? Go ahead.
I was thinking about something that we could talk about. We know that most of us here are catechumens, and the goal is to be baptized. I'm not sure if you guys wanna say anything about that? How one should conduct themselves? Uh,
Raheem, you must conduct yourself in a very circumspect way. You have to keep close watch over your own actions because you're not living with anybody in person who would hold you accountable and rebuke you. Since you are separated from us geographically, you have to practice introspection where you examine your own thoughts and your own lifestyle and rebuke yourself and chastise yourself. It's a great gift to actually live close to brothers. Even that isn't enough to ensure that you're going to live righteously because you're not living around them all the time. Ultimately, we all have to take responsibility for ourselves, but it is a great gift to live with other Christians or to see them every day. That is a great gift. To speak to each other every day is important and helps to hold us accountable. It gives us a boost of encouragement and edification. But you know the lifestyle of a Christian. You've learned enough about that, Raheem, with all the reading you've done. Cease from all sinful actions. Keep the fasts. Show brotherly love and affection to those people that God has given you to be part of your Christian family, whether other catechumens or older and more mature Christians. Keep yourself away from evil things. Don't look at evil pictures. Don't be obsessed with politics, guys. It's really tempting to get into politics at a time like this or whenever some big thing happens. You can get carried away by videos and news stories and things. Don't do that. Keep yourself separate from it all. Keep yourself focused. You're not doing anything for God's kingdom by spending hours looking at the news. Continue to grow in wisdom. Stay sharp. You got to stay in practice or you will forget the things you've learned. You have to continually brush up on them and familiarize yourself with those things.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
I've seen people go from being experts to complete empty-headed morons just from going a couple months without doing any reading. They get overconfident. They say, I don't need to read anymore. I'm good.
Very true.
You got to stay in practice. And we can tell, by the way, we could tell you're out of practice. You haven't been doing this in a while. What's happened to you? You can definitely tell.
So true. Yeah. Origin gives a good analogy of this if anyone hasn't read it before in First Principles. I believe at the very beginning, actually, in the first book. But he talks about how this is true with any profession. You know, if a doctor should not refresh himself regularly, everything will begin to slip little by little. You'll lose everything, and eventually you have nothing. And that will happen. That can happen to anybody. You should always remember that anybody is capable of becoming an entirely different person, an entirely different substance. And that's another thing that Origin talks about is that your substance itself is determined by your habit, your practice, your like habitual discipline. And so if you're, it's not like, oh, this is my substance right now and it's just going to stay that way. You know, if you stop doing that thing, if you stop immersing yourself in it.
Yes. Yes,
then your substance will change.
exactly. He does talk about this. You see, guys, right now, since you are both body and soul, you're actually in an intermediate state of deciding what you're really going to be in the future. And the fathers talk about how you can actually have a fleshly soul. Isn't that a strange concept? A fleshly soul? But they say that since your flesh and your soul are connected right now, you can actually cause your soul to be so suppressed and malnourished that it truly is ruled over and becomes conjoined with the flesh in a way where the flesh is really the one doing all of the operating, and the soul is something more in the background, because there's hardly any thinking, any logos going on in that person. And on the other hand, you can be so spiritual that the flesh, even though you're connected to it, the flesh is this distant thing. It's something that you completely subdue and rule over. It's not something that has much say in your life, because you've disconnected yourself from those fleshly desires and impulses. So the goal is to be a completely spiritual person who is in the world, he's in the flesh, but he's not of it. He isn't truly joined to it. He hasn't become fleshly in his essence.
This is so true. Yeah, Tertullian talks about it.
It's good to bring those things to our remembrance constantly. You can dull your mind and you can become like not just a passenger seat person, but like a way distant back seat driver in the car. You're like a person in the very back of the bus sometimes, with some, your flesh driving in the front, and you're back there just completely being dragged along. You barely even know what's happening. That's how most people are. They're not really conscious. They're not really thinking. They don't examine themselves. They don't examine their life. They don't have that will to live, a survival instinct, a love of truth. That's so important, guys. And it's something that is lacking everywhere in all the denominations, is just the love of truth. It says those people in 2 Thessalonians who get deceived by the Antichrist, they didn't receive the love of the truth. When I talk to my family members, when I talk to people in these Protestant sects or the Catholics, it's always something you detect immediately when you start a discussion about what is true. There's no love of the truth. They will give you so many different responses, all of which say the same thing, which is, oh man, you're making such a big deal out of this, or such a disrespectful handling of the entire discussion when you start bringing up fallacies and things. Nobody who loves truth brings up fallacies or says something like, that's the appeal to authority. Like, what, man? Don't you believe there's a God who you have to obey? Don't you believe that God put the apostles in charge? What do you mean that's an appeal to authority? You don't believe in authority? Or they'll say, oh, that's the genetic fallacy. Dude, the genetic fallacy? You're telling me you don't believe in going back to the very beginning, the very root of the church? They say that's the genetic fallacy. These are like atheist arguments, but they've pulled both of those. Appeal to authority and genetic fallacies, like the two main appeals we make as Christians. To go back to the beginning and to listen to the original authorities who God put in place. They call those fallacies. That's no love of truth. But we just love the truth. We rejoice in the truth. We find peace in the truth and freedom. The truth will set you free. That's very important to have as a catechumen. Don't lose your love of the truth and your commitment to defend the truth and to speak the truth, to teach it to other people. Truth, truth, truth. People hold that against you, and we've heard probably our own family members, boo-hoo, or, make fun of us for, oh, like you're just so obsessed with just being right. Have you ever heard anybody say that? You just like to be right. That's all you care about. My mom says that to me. Yes, Mom, I want to be right. You don't want to be right? It's like, oh, it's all you care about.
Right.
Yes, it is. It's all I care about. You don't want to be right. Don't you understand your salvation rests on that? I want to be right.
On being righteous.
Yes. On being what?
righteous.
The-
I mean, that's
yes,
all that righteous is. It's just being right. You're just being right in your action, in your thought, in your belief. Right.
righteous. Exactly. Well, that's what orthodox means. Right doctrine. You just want to be right. Anyway, I'm orthodox. I've got the right doctrine. But anyway, you focus on doctrine too much, they'll say. Okay.
We can talk about practice. Yeah, like it's just let's move it over because we talk about practice a lot too.
Of course.
So we can talk about any of that stuff. Are you is your practice bowing down to dead things? Is your practice a lack of modesty? Do you practice modesty? Do you practice fasting?
But what you'll find
We
is
can
that
talk about practices that day.
they don't even have a zeal usually for some other belief. Most people you talk to, they don't even have a true zeal. It's just anything but the truth. That's what it comes down to. If you don't love
Yeah.
the truth, you'll be satisfied with anything but the truth.
By the way, the whole thing with fallacies, that's just really annoys me with the whole fallacy talk. It's partly because what most of these people do now, fallacies start off with, they start out originally sort of being true in the sense of like, really all any fallacy is just to say that something isn't necessarily always true. What I hate hearing is when people say correlation does not equal causation. What do you mean does not? It may not. That's really the real truth, is that correlation may not equal causation, but if there is, correlation, then we should look into it. We should rule it out as a factor. If there is correlation, then you should investigate it. If you have an authority, that means that like something to be investigated. Is it an authority worth listening to? Is that actually what the authority says? Just because somebody appeals to an authority, maybe they might not be correct because the authority may not be correct, or they're misunderstanding the authority, or they have the wrong authority. They might be quoting the Catholic Catechism, for example, and it's like, well, that's not the real authority, man. So that's in a case where like, oh, an appeal to authority isn't always true, but that's the problem. They turn it into not, oh, it's not always true. What this argument doesn't always work in every instance, in every circumstance. But they turn it into like, you could never use that. Oh, you just appeal to authority under any circumstance. That's a fallacy, and they're just impossible to act like there are these rules that you've agreed to before the conversation took place, and they have to act like they got you. Oh, don't you know you just broke that rule? Everybody knows this rule. I never agreed to that.
Right. I think Jay Dyer really popularized this mode of argumentation among the Orthodox nowadays, and people like him.
Jay Dyer is just a sophist. He uses so much complicated language. I'll watch his videos and like be so confused. Like what the like like what is this guy talking about?
I'm back.
Energies, talking about energies and stuff like that.
Well, it's just it's a way to keep people out and keep people in. It's very esoteric language that the Orthodox use, and it's designed that way to sort of be like a club. That the first time you hear it, it's totally nonsensical and in a completely different language, and so you have to like get into their club with them and learn their language and learn to talk like them so that you can fit in. It's really bizarre.
Used to be, you'd be respected if you were a person that really loved truth. It is something that should be brought up in discussions because it's just come as a as a given that Discussions are going to come down to who is the cleverest debater. And we ought to speak to people about simplicity. Make a whole video on the subject, simplicity of speech. So many quotes on that subject.
Mm-hmm.
We've
The
got
apostles themselves were the perfect example. The fathers talk about it a lot. Christ didn't pick the eloquent out of the bunch. If he wanted that, I mean, there are a lot of scribes. There's a lot of people that could have taken that role. But he took fishermen, but they were innocent. Well, not innocent. They had a good heart.
And so concludes our call. That was a good one. Just kidding. No Cathodox joined. That's odd. Look, Nolan, there are a few quotes, more veil quotes that I didn't put in the section. You want to see some?
I'm okay for right now.
You're fine. You're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's just
You just want the
it's
video.
just so excessive at this point.
Yeah, so true.
I feel like at a certain extent, it's like it's rude to the truth, if that makes any sense. It's
When you
just
say
like,
wait, I've got more, and you're like, how much do you think is necessary?
yes. I mean, you consider how much was necessary for us,
2 or 3 witnesses was enough
and
for
you've
us.
and you've quadrupled it. You've multiplied it by so much,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it's just excessive at this point. If you found 50 more, it wouldn't matter. The people that are going to accept it are going to accept it at this point. The people that aren't are not.
that's very true. Yeah, we followed the rule, even without even necessarily thinking about it, of having 2 or 3 witnesses. Every fact was confirmed. The only reason I didn't accept that doctrine sooner was because, as far as I knew, there were only 2 witnesses. I knew about Clement and I knew about Tertullian. I thought that's interesting. I thought it's 2 guys. It's interesting their view, but when the third witness came, Apostolic Constitutions, I just thought, oh wow, that's quite
Yeah.
amazing. That's 3 witnesses. I mean, now I really have to consider this is a doctrine of the church. What? I mean, what a plot twist. And in 3 totally different locations: Carthage, Alexandria, and Antioch. Those are very separated from each other. Yep, 2 or 3 witnesses. I mean, but that rule is so easy for us to follow. And the truth is, if there is any doctrine of the church, you're going to find way more than 2 or 3 witnesses. You can bet on that. We've always been able to find 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, on the subject of incense. Easily you can find, 40. That's how many we've collected in just a tiny amount of time. But with these
Hey,
cathodox,
Luke.
you've got to get like what? I mean, it doesn't matter if you have 60. You've got to have a council. Yes, Brian.
I was just gonna say that um, when it comes to at least my experience, I don't know about other people, but there have been times that I'll come across a quote and it teaches something, and it's like the first time I'm hearing about it, and I never heard the interpretation of a verse or the teaching itself. And then like now that I've come across it, and then after that, I just start finding it consistently,
Mm-hmm.
like just by accident. I just consistently, it's just like what, and then it just went from like a thing where I'm like, okay, that's cool, to like, okay, now this is like, okay, this was what Christians held to then, because there's so many witnesses to it. That's been my experience a lot of the time, um, in my reading.
That's wonderful, Brian.
Especially when it comes to cults as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna agree, especially when it comes to quotes, because you'll read something and it'll stand out to you, but you'll continue to read and you'll see other fathers talk about it, and it'll click. Well, this isn't the first person I heard talk about this, so I have to start collecting more information about this. I have to accept it.
That's what I've done. There's times where like, oh, I'll come across a quote. I might not save it, but I kind of remember what it says, and then like a little bit later, some days later, weeks later, or whatever, I read and I come across something else, and then my mind sparks, and I'm like, wait a second, I've heard about this before, and then I have to go gold mine or go treasure hunting to find where I found the first one, and then when I find it, and then and then I just begin finding tons of references to it. Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
What fascinates me the most about the veil, as opposed to the other practices that have been forgotten and have fallen out of practice, fallen out of being carried out by Christians, is that so many of these other practices, these doctrines, which have been forgotten, were already they were unique solely to Christians. So we are solely reminding Christians of something that Christians have forgotten. But the veil is even stranger because it's almost a universal global kind of amnesia. Japan, China, India, and all throughout Europe. It's it's something that was practiced by all the major religions and all the major nations and died out not even that long ago. It's something that's not only like, hey, not only have the Christians stopped doing this, not only have people forgotten that this is a Christian practice, it's like a world practice, which is, unique compared to so many of the other things that we talk about.
You're right. That is, it's so strange. It's so, I mean, it says something about society and the world that we're capable of forgetting so much and so quickly, and to demonize people and to even associate an idea like that with a religion, like a single religion. Whoever's found the last person doing it, like, oh, they're the ones who invented it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why if we ever encounter the Catholics in the future, by the way, and they want to go on about the fathers being corrupted and influenced by Platonism, as they say, we should just not tolerate that. These people have been influenced by something far worse than Platonism. These people have been infiltrated by materialism and these modern concepts, these modern beliefs of materialism and feminism. I mean, these people have been completely turned inside out from who they are, what they were, through modern ideas, modern belief systems, such as feminism. I mean, they have no idea the extent of how brainwashed they are. And these people want to sit there and act smug, like they're so above it all. They've caught the fathers, all they're corrupted by Platonism. These people let their women go out and about and drive and be seen completely, and in all their parts and everything. These people are influenced by something far worse, and it's really just unacceptable to let them slide with saying nonsense like that. They should be attacked immediately anytime they say something like that.
Also, the hypocrisy. I mean, whenever they say such a thing about the fathers, because they'll put on the guise of saying, okay, we are the fathers and the fathers are in agreement with us. But when the evidence is posed against them, they'll immediately switch on a dime and they'll say the fathers are Platonists and the fathers were just children in their understanding. So, no, you don't listen to them.
It's
They were just
embryos.
fools.
The Catholics so desperately need somebody to sit them down and give them a little course on church history and on all the principles of truth and how we arrive at truth.
But Luke, yeah, I definitely agree. But sometimes it does seem like these people, they're just so attracted to the doctrines of the Catholics. Icon veneration and these things. There are myriads of quotes to disprove that. But it doesn't matter sometimes the evidence that we give to these people because they're just lovers of materials. They're carnal, so they won't see it. But
I think, Raheem, that we're going to be very effective when we're unleashed. When the time comes, I actually think you guys know how with people like Charlie Kirk who go and have regular debates. You know how the liberals just look like complete idiots in every single video. Every video. When you actually talk to these people, you hear them contradict themselves 1,000 times. You see that they are speechless. You see that they get emotional. I would love for us to be in regular open dialogue. And you know how, like, Jay Dyer, he will talk to Protestants. He's probably the one who does this the most. I know he is. Who has a regular open forum with Protestants and just makes them look like idiots every single day. And he is single-handedly bringing countless people into the Orthodox Church by doing that. Do you understand how much of an impact he has had? We want to do that. At least I very much look forward to doing that. And everybody else is welcome to join in. I'd like to do that with the Cathodocs. I want the Cathodocs who come to us to look as stupid, if not more, than the liberals who come and talk to conservatives about abortion or homosexuality or transgenderism, and as stupid as the Protestants do when they speak to Jay Dyer.
but it does already happen. It does already happen. We have a lot of videos on the
Oh,
channel.
much more, though. I'm talking on a grand scale.
Right.
A regular stream of it, where people can say, wow, the Cathodocs really cannot stand up against the early church. They are just being slapped around, backhanded. They can beat the Protestants, but they can never beat the church that is earlier than them.
So when are you going to unleash it?
At some future time, at the appropriate time, guys. You know, we're all very young still. We're all in our 20s, except Aramis. There will be an appropriate time. We just have to sharpen our minds and prepare and get financially stable. That's pretty important. That's a goal for me in the near future so that I can spend more time doing it. Right now we're collecting. But we can make great videos, and we are making great videos. Nolan is the one making a majority of these great videos.
Exactly.
By the way, say something. Let me make sure that the audio levels are good. Say something, Raheem.
Ooh,
Nice.
is the
Perfect.
audio levels
Yes,
good?
it's perfect. It's right on my level.
Oh, I didn't get Nolan's thoughts on Luke's editing for that Veil video, the intro.
Nolan doesn't care. He says, just get the video out. No more delaying. Well, I told Nolan I wanted to make a little intro. I just said, it's such a boring topic to people. Well, let's make a little intro. And so we'll just put that at the beginning of each of those parts. The truth is, though, veiling is a fairly interesting topic. You go to Sound Faith. Let me show you something. Do I have to say? Oh, yeah. Okay, let me show you something. Look. If you go to Sound Faith or Followers of the Way, have I shown you this before? Their most viewed videos are on the topic of head covering. So we probably don't need an intro video. But still. All right, look. Number 2 and number 3 videos are 14 objections to the head covering and Christian head covering testimony. Those are the second and third most viewed videos. And then on like Followers of the Way, you see the most popular videos. What are they, guys? Why I Started Being Modest. That's the most popular video with 424,000 views. And the next one is the head covering, part 1 and part 2. And then it's the Just War debate. And then it's the head covering, part 3. So there are four out of the top 5 most viewed videos are all on head covering. So it is a very popular topic even now. And then even the 6th video. Hopefully we'll heat things up with our latest release here.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm definitely interested in the veil. I even watched that veil video again recently.
Yes. Well, don't be disappointed if we don't go over all the same things right away. We're gonna, guys, people just need everything presented to them in as orderly a way as possible. Just build on a very solid foundation gradually. Don't be too harsh at first. Save the harshness for the later parts. Are my coughs loud? Does my noise canceling get rid of it?
Sometimes.
Cough again. Yeah, no. Pretty clear.
Oh. All right.
Luke, I think you did an excellent job. Like, I was watching it with Asia, like the introduction that you did, and I was pointing out all the things that you were. I noticed. I think I noticed a lot of the reasons why you use all those clips, and I think the best one was where you uh gave David saying like all these statues are evidence that like it wasn't scandalous for them to go out unveiled, and then you put that quote and then the thunder, like that just hit so it just shows the what's the right word here, the hypocrisy or the how he's like two-faced about it,
Yeah. And there's so much
or
more.
Luke,
just deceptive. I mean, that was a really
it's
good
easier, Luke, to do that trick, by the way. If you if you first make the quote itself transparent in Photoshop with the one color, and then recreating it with the second color in Photoshop also, because you put red over it, didn't you? You just made another one and put it on top.
All right. Yeah, I did.
You can see the white peeking out underneath.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I bet that drove you crazy.
Well, actually, I always have my preview as really low quality. Let's see if I find it. I'm going to see what you see. I'm going to let it drive me
Here,
crazy.
by the way, Luke, another thing that I wanted to talk to you about with this intro, because I think it does need to be just reworked just slightly.
Yes. That's what I was looking for.
I did I had a feeling about something at the end, okay? And I was thinking, well, I don't know if this is just me. So I asked my wife, I showed it to my wife, and she didn't know about that last clip that you used with the tribal people.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to see if she got the gist of it. She thought all of it was good, but she didn't understand why that clip was there at the end. She didn't understand the relevance of it at all. I think you need to edit it in a way just so that it's obvious that they're just has like it doesn't need a long moment. It just needs like a quick hit, a quick beat where the emphasis is on they're laughing at the way that the people dress. Maybe you could just include just the one line where they're like, wow, the husbands must be really jealous over there. You could include that part or something, just so people know why you're including that.
Well, I added
my
some
wife
subtitles.
Was really confused with
yes,
that part.
I also realized I've already edited it for the final video. I added some subtitles.
Okay. Then never mind then. Good.
Yeah, I'll show you what I
think
added.
subtitles are good. Yeah,
Let's see
I
if
was
I
thinking
can.
that also.
If my computer turns off suddenly, you'll know why. I'm doing too much.
Many tabs.
Too many tabs.
Yeah.
Let's close a few tabs. Did I tell you about this article I found, Nolan?
Mm-mm.
Okay, not to digress too much, but I will come back to this. I have to show you something I found that will change your life. Okay, let's see here. Doop-de-doo. We're just going to say here. And we're going to click a thing here. We're going to zoom. Yeah, give me some advice about what to say, Nolan, what to say. All right, we're going to zoom. All right, we're gonna see we're gonna see the behind the scenes. This is how we edit, guys. This is what it looks like when you're editing. You chop all the little clips, you see? Okay, Nolan, I added some text here. You see? Look what
Yeah.
I see, it says laughing now. See where it says laughing? You get it? I added some subtitles. They're laughing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I also the old text was too dark. So I added my own text. That's
Okay. Yeah.
it's better.
Good.
All right,
Yeah.
so here it says laughing. Should I say I considered writing this? What do you think about this? Um, you know, like I was gonna say naked, tribal people laughing. I don't know. What should I type here? Because we want to put emphasis on their laughing at that. But yeah, I can add more clips. I get, you get the general idea.
I think just right after that question is asked, you should just include just like a little beat where that one tribal person says like they must be really jealous or something like that, and then they laugh.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to, if it like works with the flow, I don't know, but I think that would just make it clear that like, okay, these are people that are like making fun of it and laughing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that
and
what they're
that
actually
looks
doing
like
though?
a creature right
Yeah,
there.
this is real. This is a real. National Geographic went and showed a video to people, to Amazonians, tribal people.
I was watching this, and it had nothing at all to do with the veil, by the way, guys. I was just watching this because it was like this kind of like uncontacted tribe that's like isolated from the rest of the world, and they were just being shown like what cities look like and what hospitals, and they were asking their thoughts on it. They were like, "What do you think about this?" And they're talking about what they think about the world. And then at one part, randomly in the video, they showed the veils in the Middle East, and they were being really condescending. And you look at them; they're all freaking naked. Their wives, their women are naked
Well, it's very
completely.
symbolic. It's just our society. This is really our society here.
Yeah, yeah, true.
That's
I,
why.
I didn't get the point, but now I guess it makes sense. But what
Oh,
if?
see, Brian didn't
Uh,
even get it, Luke. It has to be
yeah,
edited so that the audience understands.
yeah, I didn't get what they were looking at. Like I didn't get the whole tribal reference. I saw the veiled woman and then them laughing, but I didn't even make the connection that they were actually like looking at a clip of how other people were dressing through a computer.
Yeah, well, it goes by too quickly, I suppose. But it shows them all looking at a laptop, and then it's like a still image.
What if you put like a little note somewhere, like looking at a laptop or something like that, looking at
Oh yeah,
No,
that.
so
you
and
can
so.
see it right here visually. You're fine, Luke. Literally, all that you need just for audiences to understand it. You have everything right so far with the setup. They're looking at the laptop. Then the person asks the question. He tells them. He says, "People dress like this." You just need to edit it so that right after you have the tribal person saying, "Wow, they're really jealous," like making fun of them,
Do you think I should
and then
add?
cut to them laughing.
Do you think I should add quotation marks to this so they know it's a statement from a person?
Uh, does the director of this documentary, does he speak? Does he ask them, "What do you think about this?" Because I think this, if he says that, I think that would be a perfect thing to overlay.
Oh, brother, that's exactly. I don't. I okay.
Now you guys are really cutting
I
out all
don't
the
know,
work
Luke.
for me.
I don't know what to do now.
Now they're really increasing the workload.
I mean,
It's worth it.
it's not okay. You know what? Just forget about it,
No,
man.
no, no, no,
I
no,
mean,
no,
I'll
no.
give.
This is what we're gonna do.
They're trying to confuse you, Luke. They're trying to bring you into their confusion. I'm giving you a very clear cut. You can just take it or leave it, though. But I saw this happening. I knew that this would happen. It's a very simple little edit, little trick you could do. You just change the order of events,
Yeah,
and then it would make sense to everybody. But whatever.
it's okay. It's gonna be okay.
I think also you because it's very trailer like the opening. I think you should just include a little line somewhere if you think anywhere it would be appropriate. Just like something along the lines of like, a has to do with like something that expresses the idea that there's like a cultural amnesia that has happened,
Mm-hmm. What kind of
like
image would be
a
best for that?
completely forgotten tradition.
What kind of image would best symbolize that?
I don't know. I mean, you already have parts where like you have the 1902, 1908 London
Forced me to
footage.
search and search and search the scripture.
Yeah.
I don't think you really need to add any new footage or anything like that. Just add like a
Yeah, that makes
like
sense now, Luke.
a society with amnesia or something like that. Just add that line somewhere in text or something.
Yeah, yeah. I can do that.
You already have little beats like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I added the other text. I added a few text to a few parts. I added the one to Mark Dice. Our
You did
boy.
add Mark Dice. Could I see that? How's that look?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay.
I don't even think they allow women to drive over there.
Yeah. He's great.
I think the addition you added at the end there with watching laptop makes it easier to understand without even doing much. It makes sense.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. We're trying to make it interesting. Well, I used all the clips I wanted to use. I had a lot more footage and stuff that I wanted to use, but I guess it all just worked. We hit the main ones. I mean, I had a lot of great clips from Berceau. I guess we got some of the juiciest ones in there, but I mean, he incriminates himself so badly. I mean, at this last part, he's like, in short, the early Christians, what does he say?
In short, the early Christians practiced exactly what 1 Corinthians 11 says.
So if he ever comes out and says, well, those early Christians, they're a little too extreme at their face value, he has already told the world that they are doing what the early Christians did and that the early Christians did exactly what God commands. So it's over. It's over for these people. Okay, now let me show you an article that will change your life. I was looking up some quotes, and I came across an article. Look at this. It's by Travis Fentiman. Now, when you see MDiv, that means Masters of Divinity. Guys, that's like one of the... Actually, I think it is. It's like the highest degree you can get in seminary. Masters in Divinity. This guy is some kind of super genius, apparently. And he wrote this article called 1 Corinthians 11, Head Coverings Are Not Perpetual, and They Were Hair Buns, with or without cloth material. That's what this 400-page thesis is focused on. And you might be saying, where in the world is this Master of Divinity getting his info? And I'm going to blow your mind, guys. He gets it from the exact same quotes that we are all looking at. And he misinterprets them. He twists everything. He is on a level of insanity that is extremely rare to find. And it was some kind of just entertaining just exercise to go through this man's article. I don't have time to go through the whole thing. I just randomly came across it. But he starts making every crazy case he can think of. I mean, he went already in total bogus land trying to say it's hair buns because nobody believes that. But he even goes on to say that long hair on men is fine. He says, Scripture condemns men having effeminate hair, but it also approves or leaves open to indifference numerous cases of men wearing long hair. Persons not able to distinguish between male long hair and effeminate long hair may have never seen the movie Braveheart. Pictured right. Like, that's how some bratty kid.
I love that. I love that this is the best that education has to offer. But didn't you see Braveheart?
Didn't you see
with
my favorite movie? No, clearly you've never seen my favorite movie.
Yeah, and he wears a skirt too.
I mean, it's this article, all of it is just unbelievable. But guys, I found some of my best face-veiling quotes from this man's article. Excuse my cough. That's why I can't record my video. But my goodness, guys, he starts quoting these Protestants I've never seen, because there are just too many throughout the centuries. And I'm going, wow, does this guy really support hair buns? And so I'm looking up each quote he's bringing, and I'm just going, oh my goodness, what a great quote on face veiling. And it's just quote after quote after quote. This guy is like some kind of creature. I don't know. He's some bizarre animal. He's symbolized. Some animal symbolizes him, I'm saying. Like a platypus or something. Like something you rarely find. Something just on the fringes of weirdness. Mm-hmm. But he actually is helping us. I mean, anybody who reads his article is going to see his insanity. But one of the quotes he got and by the way, I've only grabbed 6. He had tons of references. I was only able to grab 6, and they were quotes on the subject of veiling. And guess how many of the 6 that I read, I didn't have time to read the rest, but guess how many of them confirmed it was a face veil? Just throw out a guess.
All of them.
All 6. Here's one from Joseph Hall, the Bishop of England, in the 1600s. I just want to show you one of them. This was one of the funniest ones. So he had a sermon. It's called The Women's Veil, or a discourse concerning the necessity or expedience of the close covering of the heads of women. By the way, I want to repeat, I found it from this man's article. And he didn't want to quote this section. He didn't quote this section. He quoted one sentence before the part I'm about to quote to you, where he just says, yes, there have been various practices around the world. But he doesn't quote the part where Joseph Hall says this. He says, in those primitive times, there were some women extraordinarily gifted by God's Spirit who took upon them to preach and pray publicly, which afterward St. Paul forbade to his Timothy. They, exercising these manly functions, presumed to take upon them manly fashions, whereas, therefore, barefacedness was in Corinth, as also in all Greece and Rome, a token of honor and superiority, and covering the head was a token of subjection. These forward women usurp upon the fashions of their husbands, and will have their faces seen, as well as their voices heard. And he goes on to say, let no man say, what matter is it, or what matter is to be made of stuffs or colors or postures? God is a spirit, and wills to be worshipped in spirit and truth. These bodily observations are nothing to that spiritual and infinite essence. And Joseph Hall says, what Corinthian gossip might not have said so to our apostle? He says, yeah, what kind of Corinthian gossip wouldn't have said the same thing? He's just saying, you're like some idiot that Paul would have to deal with. And he goes on, he says, so as what our superiors, to whom we must leave to see further than ourselves, think fit to enjoin us out of their estimation of decency and order, is not now left to the freedom of our election. It is for them to judge. It is for us to obey. In other words, he's just saying, at the end of the day, you need to just obey the law that God gives. Sorry, it's a little bit out of order, this part. I'll re-highlight it. He says, I know how little I need to press this to a people where I can find nothing but a universal conformity. So he says, I know how little I need to say this to you, my congregation. You guys already obey this. And you may be saying, obey what? Well, listen to this next part from Joseph Hall. He says, lastly, it must be known that this covering of the head has principal relation to the face, which is the best and most conspicuous part of the head, so as it is supposed that the humility and modesty of the woman does most show itself in the veiling of the face from the view of beholders, the back parts of the head not giving so much cause of note and distinction, not so much occasion of temptation to any eye. Can you believe that? Like, this is one of the coolest sentences we have ever found from any commentary. He's like, listen, it needs to be known the covering of the head has principal relation to the face, which is the best and most conspicuous part of the head. He says the back parts of the head, not giving so much cause of note and distinction. I mean, the whole head covering world needs to hear this. We've been saying this for so long. So this guy supplied us with some of the best quotes we've ever found. And that
And these are
maniac,
some great quotes.
isn't it amazing?
But I hate to break it to you, Nolan.
That is sad. Well, if he leaves me, no one wants this PDF. I can't believe I didn't send it to him. All right, he wants it. I'll deliver. I mean, it's pure torture. Oh, well, we're not crazy again, guys. I mean, you know that we're not crazy, but just so you know, we're also not crazy. I just can't believe it. I mean, why would this guy do this to himself? Why would he shoot himself in the foot like this and supply all these great quotes to us? Somebody find the time to read this. Maybe you, Brian, if you've got some free time. Read through this thing and look up his quotes, his references.
It's kind of hard to find a time to look at stuff now because it's like I'm kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is in which century?
This guy was writing in he was born in 1574 and died in 1656. And he claims his congregation was obeying this. He says, I know how little I need to press this issue to a people where I can find nothing but a universal conformity. He's saying that to his congregation. Say, I know how unnecessary it is to say this to you guys when you all have a universal practice. Yeah. Well, I'd love to read the article because people just tend to supply the ammunition. Same with the head covering movement's website. I mean, they're quoting people who destroy them. Sometimes not just where you have to look up the quote in context, but just full quotes that destroy them that they are putting on their website. And I guess just hoping that people will read with their eyes turned backwards.
Yeah. No one reads the footnotes.
Well, guys, I'm going to head out. We've gone for, 2 hours.
Are you gonna upload this call? Because I don't know. We didn't talk about much.
You're right. It was a very boring call. We should not upload it.
Well, if you can, you could pick out certain sections. I don't know.
Before you head out, Luke, I mean, I have kind of just a random question. If you want,
Sure.
it's on. I've been like on Barnabas. I kind of asked this in the past, but like, which Barnabas wrote Epistle Barnabas? Because people seem to, because it mentions the 70 AD destruction,
That's so
and
stupid.
allegedly there's a tradition that says Barnabas, like the disciple, died in like 62 or 61 AD, but like I've heard that. I mean, I've seen like Roman Catholic sources say that, but do you know much about that tradition? And like, is that is it testified in the early church when Barnabas was martyred?
You mean him talking about the temple being destroyed?
Yes.
I don't know exactly when he died, but I do know there are enough fathers saying it's Barnabas that I believe it.
And now when I guess I mean I want to look at the quotes, but like they are referring to like Barnabas, it's called apostle as well, the disciple, with Peter, right? Like the main Barnabas.
Right. Yeah, the apostle.
Okay. Yeah, because some people, I mean, there's people that say that he died before 70 AD, but I haven't really found like when the earliest mention of that tradition is. I've just seen that, and it's like that's in the Roman Catholic tradition currently.
I've never heard
So
that before.
okay, yeah, that's it's been brought up. People that want to push it to a later dating. That's one reason that I've heard brought up.
Yep. I can't tell you. We just go with those few witnesses we have saying it really is Barnabas, and we see it's in conformity with the others.
Yeah, yeah. I love the book. I mean, I trust the fathers on it. I want to be able to answer that though, if it were to come up.
In the end, the only thing we would show anybody, as far as I know, at this moment, it would just be the Father's testimony.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yep. All right, I goeth to bed. I'll see you guys later. God be with you.
All right.
Bye. Good seeing you guys.